to need a rectangular cake cardboard on the bottom of this one, and then I am stacking up 4 layers of cake and then 3 layers of buttercream frosting. When I'm filling a cake, I like to stick with fillings that are stable like buttercream or ganache. You want to stay away from fillings like jam or mousse because those tend to spill out the sides of the cake. Let's carve it. Carving a cake is sometimes scary for me, so I like to take my time and I make sure I have a very good photo handy. When I made this cake though, I could only find one photo of it. Here it is. The float in this picture is not facing forward, so that is making it a little bit more challenging, but that's okay. We're going to do it anyways. I'm first cutting a big rectangle off one side of the cake so that it kind of resembles a truck. And always save those big pieces of cake just in case you need it later on. From there, I'm slowly rounding out all of the edges and I'm tapering the bottom edge too. When you work with cake that is cold, it is much easier to work with and cut. Now that I have a basic shape of the float, I was feeling like I needed to extend the front of it, so I'm filling out the front end with cake pop filling. So if you ever feel like you took off too much cake, don't worry, you can always add a little bit back with cake pop filling. The next step is completely covering it in chocolate ganache. I picked white chocolate ganache for this one. Smooth it out with a hot offset spatula and a flexible plastic smoother. Let's move on to the fondant. So we are going to need white, black, and red fondant to cover this cake. To get the fondant to stick to the ganache, you want to just spray it with a little bit of water, but if you get any water on the board, be sure to dry that off. For both the black and white, I'm using a ribbon cutter to cut out strips of fondant, and then I roll up those little strips, and then I unroll those onto the cake. And for the red, I'm doing it as I normally do. I'm rolling out a larger piece of fondant, and then I drape that over my rolling pin, and then I unroll the fondant onto the cake. Cut away the excess fondant right along that black strip and then smooth it out with a flexible plastic smoother, and then use your gloved hand to make sure the black and red seams are fitting together perfectly. On the front end of the float, there is a very cute Pokeball. It's really easy to make because it's just circles of fondant. So use circle cutters to make black and white circles, and then attach the white circles to the black to resemble the button. I then use shortening to stick it onto the cake. That way I could easily move it around later if I need to. Let's make Pikachu. So I am starting with a wooden dowel pushed down into a piece of styrofoam. And the inside of Pikachu is very delicious. It's made out of Rice Krispie treats. So we just need 2 circles of Rice Krispies, with the head being a little bit smaller than the body, kind of like a snowman. Once you have the shape, cover him in white chocolate ganache, let that set up, and then add another coat. Try to get it as smooth as possible, and if you can, print out a picture of Pikachu to use as a template. Pikachu is then getting covered in a sheet of yellow modeling chocolate. Smooth that out and then trim away the excess. You can either make modeling chocolate homemade or you can buy it. I usually buy mine. It's called Choco Pan, and I think that the taste of modeling chocolate is a little bit better than fondant. He also needs some detail on his body and his face, so all the details like his ears, tail, hands, and feet are all made from modeling chocolate and fondant. And then I attached all the details onto his face and body. Don't put the arms on just yet though. We're going to save that for the end. Okay, so I've prepared my cake board already, and I'm attaching the cake to it with melted candy melts. This year marks the 95th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It's also the 25th anniversary of Pokemon, and it's Eevee's very first time in the parade, so it's pretty special. Before I put Pikachu on the cake, I added a plastic straw for support. So just stick a straw into the cake and cut it flush with the cake, and then carefully set Pikachu down into place. I also made an Eevee. Eevee was a little bit more difficult to make than Pikachu, but it was made in the exact same way as Pikachu with a Rice Krispie treat center. Alright, now that the characters are in place, I am next rolling a log of white modeling chocolate, which is a white trim that will go on the sled, and that will go around Pikachu and Eevee. The sled is finished, and now I can add Pikachu's arms. He is also getting a fondant scarf that is decorated with snowflake sprinkles. The final decoration on this cake is painting the board. I have a very light amount of food color gel on a large brush, and then I'm softly brushing it onto the board. My Macy's Thanksgiving Parade cake is complete. I really enjoyed making this cake. It was so much fun to make.